Bilateral relations between Indonesia and Singapore are growing from strength to strength, not only in the fields of trade and investment, but also in tourism and many other sectors.
Indonesia and Singapore established diplomatic relations on September 7, 1967, a month after the formation of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, on August 8, 1967. Indonesia and Singapore are two of the 5 founding members of ASEAN, including Malaysia, Thailand, and the Philippines. Both nations are also members of the Non-Aligned Movement and APEC. In terms of bilateral relations with Singapore, as the closest neighbor and strategic partner, Indonesia's bilateral relations are getting stronger, growing from strength to strength. The closeness of Singapore and Indonesia can be viewed from the frequent visits of leaders and high officials. Indonesia and Singapore regularly hold a high-level meeting called Leaders' Retreat to further strengthen bilateral cooperation. In March last year, President Joko Widodo visited Singapore for the Leaders' Retreat. Meanwhile, Singapore Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong was scheduled to visit Bogor in West Java on Monday, April 29th, to attend the Singapore-Indonesia Leaders' Retreat hosted by outgoing Indonesian President Joko Widodo, who is more popularly called Jokowi. This will be PM Lee's 7th and final Leaders' Retreat with President Joko Widodo. Prime Minister Lee and President Jokowi will take stock of the significant progress made on bilateral cooperation during their respective tenures. This includes the entry into force in March 2024 of the 3 agreements under the expanded framework, namely the 2022 Agreement on the realignment of the boundary between the Jakarta Flight Information Region and the Singapore Flight Information Region, the 2022 Treaty for the Extradition of Fugitives, the 2007 Defense Cooperation Agreement, as well as the ratification in September 2017 of the 2014 Treaty relating to the delimitation of the territorial seas in the eastern part of the Strait of Singapore. In trade, Singapore continues to be Indonesia's most strategic trading partner and the biggest in ASEAN. According to the Indonesian Trade Ministry's data, in 2023, the two countries' total trade value rose sharply from $27.08 billion in 2021 to $33.76 billion in 2022. However, the two-way trade dropped to $31.01 billion in 2023. Indonesia's exports to the neighboring country dropped to $22.60 billion in 2023 from $14.34 billion in the previous year, while imports fell to $18.40 billion from $19.40 billion in the same period. The main products exported from Indonesia to Singapore include petroleum gas, electrical machinery, and refined petroleum. Meanwhile, the main products exported from Singapore to Indonesia mainly consist of refined petroleum and gold. Singapore has been Indonesia's top foreign investor since 2014. In 2023, Singapore recorded 15.4 billion US dollars of foreign direct investment into the archipelago. Both countries are also among each other's top sources of visitors' arrivals. Singapore welcomed 2.3 million tourists from Indonesia in 2023, while Indonesia saw 1.4 million tourists from Singapore that year.